So a couple of years ago, I was hit by a car on my bicycle, and as a result, I spent months in bed waiting to get a back surgery. And when that happens, you think that like you get to a certain point with the amount of pain that you're experiencing, and you think that at a certain point you're in a lot of pain. It's months away from getting your back surgery. That if things get worse, that you're going to get bumped ahead. And the way it works here, it's great. We got free healthcare, but it's you still have to wait quite a long time. So what happened was things were getting worse, and I went to the hospital, and they told me that the only way I could get further along in the wait line, in the line, was if I lost all feeling from my waist down, and I lost all control from my waist down. So you can imagine that's not what I wanted to have happen, and that's also not something you can fake. You're not, you can fake a few things to get ahead in a line, but that's the difficult thing to do. So it's one of those things. There's no shortcut. You're just stuck in this situation, and if you're a particularly motivated person, it really sucks. Because the first thing you think is you've been busy at work for a while, and you think, oh, okay, I've got a bunch of free time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that free time, and I'm going to read that book I've always wanted to read. I'm going to read all of those books I've always wanted to read. I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to do a whole bunch of other things. And what happens is you're either in too much pain or your painkillers are too strong. So between the two of those things, you all of a sudden have to realize that you're not going to be productive for that period of time. You're not going to get those things done, and you have to be a little bit more realistic and a little bit more serious about how you're going to manage everything. And so what you got to start thinking is, got a couple months, this is a recipe for depression. What are you going to do so that you don't get, depressed or even worse, sort of thing. So you got to figure out coping mechanisms, and I'll tell you the best one I came up with. And so what I would do in the mornings, and I wouldn't do this all the time, and I have to give a disclaimer, probably other people shouldn't do this. And you'll find out why, but you'll just see it's not what your doctor would want you to ever do. But for me, it worked. So what would happen is I'd wake up in the morning. I'd always have horrible sleeps because you're in chronic pain. I would have horrible nightmares because your body's reacting to you being in a lot of pain and on a lot of medication, so you don't get pleasant dreams. You wake up in the morning, and what I would do is I'd take the 2 pills I had to take in the morning, and then I would sort of suss my body out and see if I would be able to get out of bed that morning. So I would end up sort of rolling to the side, pushing myself up, getting out, and then getting down the hallway. And I have to say, if you guys ever get hit by a car, it really helps to be living in a bachelor apartment at the time, because it makes it a lot easier getting around. In my case, it was only 10 feet to the kitchen, so that was easy for me to lean against the hall on the way to the kitchen. And then I would go and do my favorite thing, which was part of the day, which was to grind those espresso beans. And I would go and make some coffee, make some espresso for my stovetop Bialetti and stuff. And it was just a great time, great thing, great way to start the day. About that point is where my pills start kicking in. And so I was taking 2 types of medication primarily. The first one's called Tridero, and it's kind of like a 3rd generation T3. So if you've ever taken T3, think of the advancements in T3. Past that, you probably all had your wisdom teeth pulled out. Think about how you felt then think about the next generation of that. The next pill I was taking was called Lyrica. And Lyrica is a pill they used to give to, or maybe still give to, schizophrenics. And the side effect of that is it dampens nerve pain. So in my case, I had a lot of nerve pain, so it dampened that. And so you've got a crazy painkiller, and then on top of that, you've got this medication that, and I can't really describe what Lyrica does. It's really crazy and really intense. So you've got those 2 medications kicking in at once in varying degrees. And then, but it's the morning, so I'm groggy. So what do I got to do? I've got to have my espresso. So you have your double shot espresso on top of that to get things going. The problem with, it's great because it wakes you up. The problem with having an espresso with all these medications, especially or generally, is it gives you a bit of edge. and that's where the shot of Bailey's came in. So I would have a shot of Bailey's in there, and that would just sort of help to smooth the whole thing over and just make it like, make it sort of pleasurable, because I was trying to have a good time. And this is my sort of perk. So I would then get back, I'd lean against the hallway and get back to my bed, and I would sit down there, and I tried to get there as quickly as possible, because that was when things start happening. Things would start vibrating and shaking, and they weren't really shaking, but they looked and felt like they were, as all of that was sort of kicking in. And I'd sort of sit there, and then I would put on my headphones, and then I'd grab my controller, and I'd turn on my Xbox, and I'd turn on start Call of Duty. And I think the game industry and entertainment industry in general spend like billions of dollars trying to make as lifelike of an experience as possible. And I have to say that, like, I figured it out, because that combination of pills, and drinks and stuff, when I had that and I sat down, I was playing Call of Duty, like when a player shot me, like, I'm not saying it was real, but it was as close to being real as you could experience. Like, my heart went crazy when I ran by Claymore, ran by all these things. I'm jumping off buildings, I'm throwing grenades and all this stuff. Even when I'm sucking, it's amazing. And it was just so good, because, and what I realized, upon reflection, and I really, it was enjoyable at the time, was that, like, that person I was for that period of time in the game, that allowed me to escape all the crappiness I was dealing otherwise. That person really, that being able to do that really, was great, because even being a crappy soldier in like Call of Duty was 100 times better than being this guy that was bedridden, with months waiting for a surgery. So, thanks.